Hi guys, it's Mike here from KS Bushcraft Down Under. Well, a bit of a DIY repair job today. So some of you realise that I'm a bit of a garage sale and flea market scrounger. Got this chest cold three-way fridge. These were made in Australia and they're really quite a good unit for a few bucks. Now, the owners told me, and I've checked it out, it won't get very cold. It goes cool, but not cold. Now, I've had a fair bit of experience with these over the last sort of 30 odd years, and a lot of the times the problems are caused by them sitting in the shed for 10 or 12 months. People go on holidays, they turn them on and it doesn't perform. So these are an absorption refrigerator, meaning unlike your regular household fridge, there's no compressor in it. It's working on boiling an ammonia and water solution to chill the cabinet. So they're incredibly robust, these things. So there are heating elements and stuff in the back, and often, if they've been sat for a long time, they can be fixed by simply turning them upside down. So I haven't done any of that yet. I have plugged it in, and sure enough, the evaporator inside the cabinet is only going cool, but there's a fair bit of heat coming off the chimney. So I'll set the camera up and I'll let you guys watch me as I diagnose what could be wrong with this. Anyway guys, if you're interested in seeing me diagnose this chest cold, that's what's coming up. Right, back of the unit. So in behind here, this is the flame hole at the bottom. This is the furnace. So this boils the water in an ammonia solution, okay? So there's a chimney outlet on the top. So inside here, wrapped up in insulation, there's a 12 volt element, a 240 volt element, and right at the bottom there's a gas flame. Now the gas and the 240 are both regulated via the control switch. There's a piezo ignition and a gas safety switch here. Haven't tried any of that as yet. So I'll test the 12 volt and the 240. Now with the 12 volt not being regulated, it's not connected to that switch. So when you're driving along during the day, and this is in your vehicle, it's at a constant setting, okay? From experience, it maintains it. It draws about 10 amps, so you can't really run it off a car battery. It's a bit too harsh for it. So it's like leaving the headlights on. So over here, you've got the gas inlet connection. Now here in Australia, stick it along gone. That is the same as you'll find on most gas barbecues, and a strange plug, which I don't have the other side for. So let's test the 12. So the 12 is a goer, so that's not an issue. I'll try the ground. On the ground of the plug. The ground wouldn't make anything work. Ground's on, so that's fine. So this is the actives. So I clumsily try and hold the plug. So that tells me that the two electrical coils are working. So if I turn this selector to the off, I just heard it tick then. This shouldn't do anything. So I know that the switch is working as far as on and off. Okay. So that's good. So I know the coils. Now, a common fault for these, especially if they're stored outside, is just like gas stoves, spiders love getting in here and blocking this heat tube. Now, a blocked heat tube will affect it on all three fuel types. So So I shall endeavour to have a look in the tube and see if that is clear, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, in there is a baffle. Now I can see a fair way down and I can't see any obstruction, so occasionally people put stuff on there and they don't realise how hot this is. This can burn you easily. Okay, here you can see the heat exchange fins. Okay, so there's the insulation. So inside that tube is the two electrical elements. They're running up in slots alongside, and that's packed with insulation. This is the only part of this thing that really tries to hold the heat in, because it's boiling the water and ammonia solution. So I'll get down and have a look at the bottom. Just looking through the back, you see these tubes here, the very gentle slope they're on. This is why these fridges need to be leveled. The way they will not work on a severe angle, okay? So you need to square them up. That's not our problem at the moment. Bit of a dead spider here, never a good sign. So we'll check the burner cup next. Alright guys, there's a bit of scorching around here, which could be an indication that the gas flame has come out at some stage, which could indicate a blockage in the chimney. So I'll try and get you a hard shot. I can see the burner, and the burner appears to be clear. I'll see if I can get you a better angle on that. And I can see the entrance to the chimney, and it appears to be clear. Now I did fish out a dead spider, but it's looking pretty good. So I could take off these screws to give you a better look. Okay guys, that's the heat tube you're looking at there. I've got it on the camera, so I don't know what you guys can see. So it's clear. So I could take off these screws at the bottom here, and I might do that so you guys can have a better look. But I'm happy that that heat tube in the furnace is clear top to bottom, and if it's not working on the 240, it's probably the ammonia solution going claggy. Okay guys, I've opened the back cover up for you guys' benefits. So here you can see the major components. So here, this is the burner cup, so this only applies to the gas. There's a gas supply line. There's a safety cut-off valve, so if the gas goes out and this cools off, it turns the gas supply off. We haven't got anywhere near that yet. And a Piezo Igniter. Let's see if that works. The safety valve might. Oh, safety igniter is not very happy. That's just a standard. Oh no, it's working. Saw a spark. I might need a bit clean out on top here. It does fire. So looked in here. Now I can take off this. Some screws there. I have to come in from the top first. But I can see inside the tube, and the tube is clear. That's really all I'm concerned about at the moment. So you can see most of the major components: generator, the separator, the condenser, the evaporator is inside. That's the part that takes the heat out of the fridge, and the absorber. So that's all the main bits. Basically they're a seal system, and I've never seen one crack or fail, but you would know if it was. But I can hear the solution sloshing around in that. So at this stage I'm happy with everything I've found. Okay guys, the inside of the cabinet's pretty good. Now this is the evaporator. So this draws heat out of the cabinet. So liquid ammonia comes in, it flashes off to a gas, and in doing so it draws heat out of the cabinet. So I can't see anything wrong in here. The seal looks okay. Bit of rust on the arm. Oh, the arm locks open, so you push it, pull it towards you. Straightforward enough. Oh, Igniter doesn't look very happy, but everything else, that's the gas safety search. All that seems fine, but these are only off a barbecue, so it's not the end of the world. It can be lit with a match on gas, so not a problem at the moment. So, the next move, I'm either debating to turn it upside down. I can hear the ammonia solution sloshing around, so it's in there. Or take it for a ride in the car, and then we'll start up on electric. Okay guys, I've given the Piezo Ignition a quick spot of MX4, so it's working like a champ now. I've given this a ride around the shopping centre car park over a few speed bumps. Probably a few of the locals think I've slipped a gear, but anyway. So, time for a test. So previously it was scorching hot on the back here and warm on the cabinet, so we'll see if giving it a ride around. We've done nothing else apart from check stuff. We haven't actually done a repair, so we'll start it up. Okay guys, ready for a 240 test. So what I suspect's been happening with this thing is when I picked it up, it was set on the maximum, i.e. the coldest setting, because it wasn't getting cold. So I think it had been sat for a long time. The ammonia and water solution was boiled in the furnace, as it would, because the heat was coming out the top. I felt that. And it overran the separator, so it couldn't cycle. So I'm going to turn it so it's barely on, so the warmest or minimum setting. I'm going to plug it into the power, and I want it to actually cycle, not just sort of boil off the ammonia as fast as it can. So it's plugged into my house supply on 240. So the RCD doesn't pop, which it shouldn't, because I've tested the circuits. So no computer's chirping, so it hasn't popped an RCD on the house supply. So what's it now? It's 10 o'clock now. I'll come back in an hour or so and see if we have a drop in the cabinet temperature. I'll just check those before we get started, and see how we progress. Just check the temperature on the evaporator. It's 22 degrees, and I'll call this tube up top the exchanger, because it's exchanging heat. So we'll see how this goes. I'm pretty hopeful actually. So far I've seen no issue. Okay guys, it's 12:20. Due to excellent planning, I didn't have the extension cord switched on at the wall, so it's now been running for an hour. The temperature on the exchanger has jumped up from 26 to 56.4. I've put this little fridge thermometer in, so outside here we've got 26 degrees, inside 15.8, that's in the cabinet. I've attached that midway up, and on the exchanger here we're at 12.6, so we were 23, so it's working. That's actually colder than it was when it was on full when I first brought it home. So heading in the right direction. So I'm going to leave it on the minimum setting until this maxes out, and then we'll crank it up. So but I want it to cycle. Okay. Anyway, I'll get back to you. Okay guys, we're about 3 hours in. So an hour ago, cabinet temperature was 15 degrees Celsius. I had the switch at the 8 o'clock position, so just above the minimum. So I turned it up to the 9 AM position. So the exchanger on the outside, 65, about the same as it was before. Previously it was 60. I've got an external air temperature of 26.2. Inside the cabinet, halfway up, it's 0.5, so really too cold for a fridge. One side, you can see there the exchanger flows through. The right hand side is minus 4.9. As it does its return loop after drawing the heat out of the cabinet, it's 8.3. So a significant difference from side to side. And the cabinet's at about, well, somewhere between 0.5 and a degree. So definitely working. So that's a good thing. Now I need to get that dialed in so I understand the positions. So I'll let it run for another few hours, and I'll turn it up to the 12 o'clock position, see how cold this will go. But at the moment I just want it gently cycling over to get everything in motion and that. Then we'll look at the gas, and I'll do something about the 12 volt. The connector plug's quite expensive for this, so I may make my own with an Anderson plug or an extra low voltage plug connection. Anyway, I'll check back in. Okay guys, it's 5 o'clock, so this has been running for 6 hours. I've currently got the control at 12 o'clock position. So I've got negative 7.4 in the cabinet temperature. So that's on the way to being a freezer. So according to my thermal gun, mine's 8.4 at the bottom. This side of the heat exchanger is negative 15, and the away side is negative 5, so there's 10 degrees difference as the ammonia is flashing through that. It's really quite surprising. So I'm going to dial in the various temperatures against a clock position on this. So it's certainly working. I can actually tell when it's on or off by the amount of heat coming off the back bar there. So all good. So I'm going to crank this right up and leave it overnight to see how cold it'll actually get. I'm saying it's going to be deep freezer performance with an ambient air temperature in the mid-20s anyway. Okay guys, she's been running most of the night. It's at minus 13.9 C, so we'll definitely call she's a runner. And minus 15.4. That side of the exchanger minus 26. It's all surprising me the difference on each side of that exchanger. And we've made a solid block of ice overnight. So good stuff. So I see the thermostat is still cycling on the maximum setting, so that's good. So now we'll get stuck into the gas side and see how that goes. Always check your gas connections, guys. Yeah, I'm just using soapy water here. As you can see, I've got a weep. There's no O-ring seal on this one here. So this one is a gas thread on the cylinder side, so it's opposite. So it's not righty tighty lefty loosey, it's the opposite way around. So that's good. So high pressure on that side, below the regulator, low pressure, so much less chance of this one leaking. But just to be sure, now there is a rubber seal inside this fitting, so that's good. So this hose is probably past its prime, but otherwise I'll have to strip one off my barbecue. So there's our gas feed on, our electric's disconnected, and we'll go to light. Okay guys, I realise you're upside down. So gas cylinder's on, we know there's gas in the line. This is a safety valve, so there's a thermal cutout for the burner. So I've got to vent the air from the gas lines, so I need to hold the safety valve down, and I'll need to hold this down after it's lit for a while as well, until it stays open. So I'll continue to hold this down. Not doing any harm cycling the piezo. Then I need to relocate to where I can see into the burner cup to see if she's lit. I'll turn that to maximum as it's been on. That'll open. There she goes. So currently the it was only the pilot light feeding. The moment I turned the that on, it got more gas flow. So if I looked in the cup now, well, something's happening. I'll reposition the camera gear and we'll have a look in the hole, see what's happening. So trick for the make sure it's turned up high enough that the gas will come on. Okay guys, I'm blocking the sun, usual perfect timing. That's the pilot flame. So I'll turn the thermostat up. I heard it click. So you guys right now should be seeing the flame come up. So that's a good sign. So the thermostat's working. So it's never truly off on gas. It's running on a pilot flame or cycling between the two. So that's all good guys, it really is. So figure out the 12 volt and I think we're about done. So I'm going to leave it running on gas for a while to see how she performs and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, I've taken the plug apart. It's nothing a rocket scientists. So it's pretty straightforward. I've felt around on the inside, there's nothing in the way. I'll get to the edge of the cabinet here. Nothing I'm going to drill into. So my thoughts are, I use one of these low voltage plugs. If I angle it slightly, the inlet side for the wires will just make it inside this rectangle. And I'll have to sort of screw it sort of through like that. Some self-tapping metal screws. Really, that's the female plug. It's this one that should be on the appliance coming out. So there's an option too, but it's not going to look that attractive. I've got that hanging out here, but that would work. I just need to make something to control the wires better than that. So I could try and reuse that there. Just take the center part out and have the wires there, which is not a bad looking job. Put some convoluted tubing on it. Could look reasonable. Okay guys, we've got the 12 volts sorted out. So what I decided to do in the end was to fit an Anderson plug. So I've soldered on, it's all been coated in heat shrink. So the wires are the same distance inside the cabinet as before, just in case it just to interfere with it somewhere. So I've got these Anderson plugs on my car, that's great. So I'll just do a continuity test, make sure my soldering's up to speed. Which it is, so that's all good. So I'll cable tie this somewhere to the fridge in case someone decides to change out for that plug later on. I decide to flip this or not. But apart from, you can probably hear it's really windy here. When it's on pilot flame, and I had this thing on top of the patio bench here, the pilot flame blew out, but the safety came in. I tested that, so I know the safety system's working. It's turned out a good job, it really has, guys. Anyway guys, if this content helps you out and saves you time and money and stuff like that, don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps me out, and I shall catch you next time.